On this day in 1907, Celtic beat Hearts 3-0 in the Scottish Cup final to virtually assure them of Scottish football's first ever League and Cup double. Preston North End in 1888-89 and Aston Villa in 1895-96 both won the double in England in the 19th century, but it was a feat that eluded all Scottish clubs before the turn of the century. Celtic had been denied the achievement by defeats in the Scottish Cup final in 1893 and 1894, and Celtic's win over Rangers in the Scottish Cup final prevented them becoming the first Scottish club to do it in 1899. By season 1906-07, the team painstakingly constructed by Willie Maley in the early part of the decade had reached heights of brilliance never before seen in Scottish football, and they had swept all before them that season. As they travelled to Hampden on the 20th of April 1907, they knew they required only 2 more points to win the league and had 6 matches still to play to secure them. Only the most pessimistic of fans doubted Hearts was all that stood between Celtic and that historic double. Despite Celtic ending the season 20 points ahead of Hearts, who finished in 9th place out of 18 teams with only 35 points from 34 games, the Scottish referee of the 19th of April 1907 forecast a tight game. Amazingly, given Celtic's domination that season, Charlie Thompson and Bobby Walker of Hearts were the only home-based players selected to play for Scotland against England on the 6th of April 1907. The Scottish referee correspondent wrote, "Hearts are not equal in combination nor at half-back or back. In the individual greatness and superiority of Thompson and Walker, the Hearts possess 2 factors which their opponents, nor any in Scotland, possess the equal. The powers of these 2 in such a contest are of such importance and value as adequately not to be done justice to on paper. For resource, for work, for tactics, for all that makes victory in such a testing event, Thompson and Walker are superb. If the Celts can beat this pair, or if they can subdue the value of their work to that of ordinary players, then they will win the cup. But if not, Hearts should win." Hearts' hopes suffered a fatal blow on the morning of the match when Thompson was forced to drop out. Most of the papers discreetly reported he was indisposed, but Jonathan Oldbuck in Athletic News of the 22nd of April, describing Hearts as Hamlet without the prince, came right out and said it. "Well, on Wednesday, diarrhoea laid him low, and though it was hoped up to the last minute that he would prove fit to take part in the fray, he had, much to his own regret, to stand down." An Edinburgh correspondent in the Scottish Referee of the 22nd of April reported that had the Hearts fans in the ground known beforehand Thompson would be missing, half of them wouldn't have bothered travelling. Thompson's wasn't the only pre-match drama faced by Hearts, and the kickoff of the season's showpiece event was held up for 15 minutes when their goalkeeper, Thomas Allen, failed to turn up on time for reasons not fully explained in the newspapers. Oldbuck wrote, "The Tynecastle officials had a nerve-trying spell at the moment the team should have been on the field. Allen, the goalkeeper, had lost his way, and it seemed as if a substitute would have to be requisitioned when he appeared, breathless but happy to find himself still in time. For 10 minutes, the other 21 players had had to kick their heels in the pavilion." On a grim afternoon of relentless wind and rain, Celtic lined up before 50,000 drenched spectators. Adams, MacLeod, Orr, Young, McNair, Hay, Bennett, McMenemy, Quinn, Summers, Templeton. Captain Jimmy Hay won the toss and elected to play with the wind, but it turned out to be a fairly even first half, with Hearts settling more quickly. The Scottish referee of the 22nd of April 1907 reported, "Walker soon excelled himself and by tricky play let Beauchamp, his partner, have every chance. Several nice centres by the latter placed the Celtic goal in danger, but Orr was in magnificent form and cleared brilliantly every time." Willie Beauchamp was the brother of Celtic's James Beauchamp, who had made a handful of first-team appearances that season. He proved a handful for the Celtic defence throughout the match. Gradually, Celtic played their way into it, the Scottish referee writing, "The Celts for a time held the upper hand, and but for the magnificent goalkeeping of Allen, must have scored. Quinn, Hay and Young all tried him with good shots, but he beat them all. A miskick by Henderson let Bennett clear, but again Allen was there to save." Sonny Jim was booked before half-time, which ended goalless. The Glasgow-based Scottish referee thought Hearts had the better of the first half, although the Edinburgh-based Scotsman disagreed. Although the Celtic showed superiority in attack in the first period, the Hearts defence was an unflinching and determined force, but the fact that the Celtic failed to score up to the interval was due principally to the splendid work of Allen. It took Celtic until the hour mark to open the scoring, and it came from the penalty spot after Jimmy Quinn was barged from behind in the act of shooting. Most reports rated it a controversial award, but the veteran Willie Orr, who won the championship with Celtic in 1897-98, made no mistake from the spot. One of the great early Celts, the 34-year-old had an outstanding game in his last Scottish Cup final. Hearts briefly rallied, but a second goal 10 minutes later ended their resistance. Jonathan Oldbuck wrote in Athletic News, "The Celtic halfbacks were left standing, and it required all the most strenuous exertions of MacLeod and Orr to prevent the equaliser. It was not to be. Celtic gradually came to themselves again, and after Templeton and Quinn had been bundled off the ball in threatening rushes near goal, Bennett, who had been playing flawlessly since the resumption, hooked across from the line to Quinn. The latter's range was impeded, so he slipped the ball aside to Summers, and the wily one beat Allen with a splendid shot." Shortly after, Summers scored his second and Celtic's third, the creator again being Alec Bennett. The Scottish referee reported, "From this till the finish, Celts played with a confidence that gave the Hearts no chance, and when time was called, the only verdict could be that the better team had won, although Hearts had been rather unfortunate." The coveted double was not yet mathematically certain, but no one doubted it was coming. The Scottish referee reported on the 22nd of April 1907, "It is true that, as regards the League Championship, the Celts have still to play 6 matches, but they have only to win one of these in order to mak sicker of the double honour. Thus, they may be practically congratulated on their record performance, and they and their large and loyal following may now, if they choose, proceed forthwith to celebrate this, the most notable triumph in the club's history."